All right, good afternoon, everybody. All right. Okay. Making sure you can hear you can see me, you can hear my audio. How is everybody doing today? Everybody all right? Okay, first of all, first things first, everybody in the chat, and I know some people are a little behind depending on where in the world you are. Green or red today. Just give me a green or red. You can share your dollar amount if you'd like, but green or red. I don't care if it's eval. I don't care if it's funded. I don't care if it's a brokerage account. Let me know how you did today. Okay, we got some green. We got some red. That's nice. I like to see that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up our chart for the day here. Okay. First of all, here's how today is going to go. We're going to take about 5-10 minutes. We're going to talk about the markets, how they traded today, how they've been the last few weeks or last couple weeks specifically. For those of you that were here last night, we did a little bit of this, but on a 8 o'clock versus 4 o'clock. I'm going to have more people here today, although I see some of the similar names on there. I appreciate you guys turning up last night and today. That is incredible. So definitely appreciate that. Welcome, guys, to the Blue Sky Trading Company's Thursday series. This is going to be kind of a regular thing going forward. It's been a regular thing, but we've taken some time off. I'm going to be on vacation after next week, so we're going to do another one of these next week, guys, and then I'm going to be on vacation for a couple weeks. We may do an event down there while I'm on vacation. I'm going to talk with Josh, see if we can sync something up at some point. But I'm going to be on vacation, which means by market close most days, I'm probably going to have a drink in my hand and be on the beach. So we'll see about it. Maybe if there's a day where the weather's like below 80 and slightly cloudy, really crappy weather, I'll think about it. But anyway, we're going to talk about the markets for a couple of minutes. We're going to get into one of my favorite technical indicators, VWAP. In about 10 or 15 minutes, guys, the chat is going to have a link in it. Our good friend Josh over at Blue Sky is going to drop a link in there. To sign up for our 2 giveaways, you need to click on that link, and you need to be subscribed to the YouTube channel. Okay, so go ahead and give the channel, if you haven't already, a like and a subscription, right? So any type of video that Blue Sky puts out will pop up there. They've got some great shorts. They've got videos. Again, we're going to do a lot more of this stuff going forward. We're toying around with a couple of different ideas for some content when I get back from vacation. I really appreciate the guys at Blue Sky that have really given me a lot of leeway to kind of throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And in that vein, I've got a small announcement to make at the end of this event. So stick around. But we got 2 giveaways today that you got to sign up for the giveaways. The first one is a free $50,000 evaluation account with our friends at Blue Sky. Okay, so normal price on that is I think $190 something, although we have obviously there's some sales and stuff from time to time. That's a great value. Another great value, our second giveaway, we're going to give a one-on-one coaching session with myself. And I'm not a cheap date. So it's a couple of really, really nice giveaways, guys. They are a great company, Iman. I appreciate that. It's to associate myself with those guys has been really, really cool. All the team over there. Most of you are just familiar with the front-facing team, like Josh, Raj, Mike, all those guys. Bunch of great guys over there. So I really appreciate them inviting me to do these events. I've said it before. I'll say it again, guys. There's a lot of different funded companies out there. I'm not smart enough to know all the differences here or there, but at the same time, I do not see one that is dedicated to educating traders as Blue Sky is. Don't get me wrong. Some others may have their TV channels and all that garbage, but to do I don't watch TV when the markets are on, right? I'm trading. That's what trading is to do. And it's not to say you can't learn some things. I came up on some of the Tasty Trade guys and some of their stuff, but then I've evolved into day trading futures, and that's what I do during the day. So I really appreciate you guys going from there. Any questions related to like the competition, anything like that? That's above my pay grade, guys. I'm not a Blue Sky employee. I just do some events for them and stuff. I'm the head of trading education at my company. company, Trici's Trading. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yes, Blue Sky is, in my not so humble opinion, definitely the best prop firm out there. So the fact that you guys are here, if you're on the fence for an account, guys, just grab one. Whatever, they do various discounts. Don't sweat an extra $10 or $15 discount here or there. Go and start your eval, guys, and then come on over to myself for a little help with that. All right, let's get into the markets, guys. First of all, you've got the screen up here. Let me get rid of Bookmap here. We're really not going to need this. There we go. And let's go ahead and blow this up. So I've cleared all my indicators off. This is what my chart usually looks like, guys. I'll show you here and pull these up. So this is what I typically, but I want all the indicators off because we're going to put one on, and I don't want to confuse anybody, okay? So last week, guys, and listen, every day there's trades to be had, right? But depending on your style, your system, some days are better than others. Well, I don't care if you're a scalper. I don't care if you're I refer more to myself as an intraday swing trader, right? I'm technically a day trader. I don't carry positions overnight most times. I make trades. I'm in and out of them sometimes in 5 minutes, sometimes in 2 hours, depending on what I'm looking for. But I'm not a scalper. I'm not playing for 5 or 10 points in the NQ, 2 or 3 points in the ES, et cetera, right? I'm sitting there playing for a bigger move, right? I want to make... again, in my personal brokerage account, I want to be making $500 to $700, $1,200, $1,500 per trade, right? And in an eval account, I want to be making, $300, $400 per trade, depending on the size of the eval account and, again, what my drawdown is with that, okay? So, with that in mind, I want to talk specifically about how we've been trading the last week or two, okay? Last week, not very good trading overall, right? Just not a lot there. If you traded profitably, on every day last week, it was just your style of trading. Congratulations, you're definitely better in those type of environments that I am, right? 10 points, I mean 10 handles. Okay, points are handles. So like 50, and thank you for calling me on that because I try to be very precise with my language. So like 15,600 to 15,601 is a point or a handle, not a tick. A tick is every one of the 25s, correct? Okay, yeah, just choppy, right? And just not a lot of opportunities, right? And then we come into this week, Monday, Tuesday, kind of more of the same. Yesterday we had some good movement, unfortunately, because the markets were really kind of bottled up, and not, there were some trades to be had. There weren't some of the key indicators that I use, some of the like VWAP we're going to talk about, just has not been as respected as we would like by the markets. Now, in the markets, guys, one of my mentors was very key to tell me. There's 80 days and 20 days, 80% days and 20% days, right? And forget the percentages because you could argue it's 70-30 or 75-25. That doesn't matter. There's quote-unquote normal days and there's non-normal days, okay? We design our strategies, our setups, and our trades for the quote-unquote the 80% days, right? Today was a little more like an 80% day, right? We had one strong movement upwards, okay? And we drifted down at the open, strong movement upwards. And then, yeah, if you were to draw an average line through there, right, a sort of a mean line through there, we drifted upwards, and there was a couple of opportunities, downwards here, upwards here, but really your big move came going into this, moving off the first hour into the second hour of the markets, right? So that's something to pay attention to on a day like today. Now, we had a summer, guys. This was actually one of the best trading summers I can remember, right? If you were an experienced trader, you made money this summer. In fact, a lot of us made a lot of money this summer, and that's great. If you're an inexperienced trader, maybe not so much so, but we'll get you to an experienced trader, and so the next time you see a streak like that. 2023, guys, especially in the NQ, has been a very good trading year. A lot of good movement off of key setups, key levels, whether it's VWAP, candlestick patterns, moving averages, whatever you use, right? Been pretty good so far in calendar 2023. But, guys, this is a little more of a normal day, right? A day that I've been used to in my 10 years of trading, but especially about 4 to 4.5 years of day trading futures, right? Where we have one very strong movement. If you miss that, it's not that there's not other opportunities, but on a given day, guys, typically you only get 1 or 2 very strong movements. Now, in calendar 2023, that hasn't been the case, right? We've gotten 100-point movements up and then 200-point move retracements, right? It's been great, honestly. Like I said, in terms of intraday action, with a few exceptions, calendar 2023 has been fantastic, right? And so again, how do you go from an inexperienced trader to experienced trader? Well, the first and most important thing, guys, is screen time. Okay. seen every kind of day, seen them play out. It used to be, guys, in fact, I had a futures trader when I first started getting into this who'd been doing this for a little while, told me, he says, it's going to take you several years to see every kind of day that the markets can throw at you. Well, I touched base with him for the first time in a couple years about 2 weeks ago, and I brought that back up to him because I said, with the way markets work now and sort of the very, with technology, with so many retail traders in the market, has your opinion on that changed? He said, absolutely. He says, you really only need about a year to see just about every kind of day the markets have seen. And in 5 years, I've seen them all several times. The only very unique day I saw was the limit down day, on Monday, right as the COVID crash began, right? That's about it. If you were to look back at about the last 5 years, that's one of the only days where you're like, well, that was definitely a pretty unique day. Every other day has been, kind of, strong up, strong down, choppy, intraday reversal, double intraday reversal, all of that. So what is one of the ways that we can sit and evaluate the markets and trade the markets? And guys, I'm going to tell you about this. I have several, okay? I have several very, very favorite patterns and very favorite indicators. But by far, my favorite is the VWAP, okay? So I'm going to show you guys what's in every, I don't care what platform you're using, they all have VWAP. Now, there are slight variations. For some reason, the VWAP and NinjaTrader just never really worked for me. But a lot of you have other platforms as well. I'm not very familiar with Trade-of-8. Most of what I do is in TradingView. It's what I recommend, guys, and obviously with the Trade-of-8 account through whether it's eval, brokerage, whatever, or if you have, obviously they connect quite a bit. If you're ever trading, whether a funded account, your own brokerage account, at some point, this is what I recommend. I love the drawing tools. It's very easy to mark. The DOM could use a little work, but other than that, guys, and let me just take a quick aside here, okay? I've worked with a lot of traders over the years on a lot of different things, and for a while, I worked for the education arm of TradeStation, and so we were required to use TradeStation, right? Used to be, in my opinion, one of the best platforms out there. Well, anyway, we'll get into that later. Regardless, know your platforms, guys. You should know, if you're on a job, you need to know your tools, right? If you're a carpenter, an electrician, if you're a surgeon, if you're a baseball player, I don't care what you are, okay? Every one of us has certain tools that come with our profession, with our work. You have to be familiar with those tools, and you have to know how to use them. Nothing frustrates me more than I'll get a question from somebody talking about a particular platform. Hey, how do you do this in this platform? Okay, and I'll say, oh, okay, how long you been on the platform? What, 2 days? Okay, guys, honestly, any new platform you start, please spend a lot of time learning about that platform. Now, I use multiple ones. I use TradingView, I use Edge Pro X, and I use Bookmap predominantly. Okay, so those are the three that I'm pretty familiar. I'm most familiar with TradingView and Thinkorswim, or not Thinkorswim, Edge Pro X. A little less so with Bookmap, but I only really use that for the heat map. So I'm not too worried about a lot of that. But so for the purposes of this, I'm going to show you specifically which indicator that I like to use in the TradingView. Okay, so you go in here, and I'm not going to type in VWAP, okay, because if you just type in VWAP, it's going to give you a lot of different things. I'm going to type in the VWAP, okay, and you'll see there's a lot of things here. Some of these are locked if you don't, if you're not subscribed to the VWAP. Okay, that's a website. It's run by my friend Zach Hurwitz. Really good guy, really good teacher of trading. Very VWAP specific type stuff, right? But this VWAP intraday is free. Okay, it's available in TradingView. Just click on it, and boom. So this is what comes up. It's a little more visual, which is one of the reasons that I really like it, right? So it's going to give you the VWAP is one color when you're below it, one color when you're above it. We get this nice shading in here, guys, right? Very, very nice. I like this. Anyway, now there's one other thing that I'm going to do here. Well, actually, you know what? First of all, let's label all this. So right here, guys, we have VWAP. For a gold star, somebody type in what VWAP stands for me, please. Down here, we have the -1 standard deviation bands. We have -2 standard deviation bands. We have +1 standard deviation, +2 standard deviation. Volume weighted average price. That is correct. Thank you for everyone who got that in there. Yeah, Zach was on Chat with Traders episode 11. You got to go back several years to find that. Yeah, Zach's a good dude. Zach's a really, really good dude. Him and I actually almost kind of started, he's very pulled in a lot of different directions, or at least he was last time I talked to him a couple years ago, because he likes to work for funds because they pay really, really well. He used to do a lot of individual one-on-one stuff. He just doesn't do that anymore, which is unfortunate because he's a phenomenal teacher. But yeah, and so this is his particular indicator. It's not proprietary as far as I know. It just follows VWAP and it just shades things a little different. So guys, we're not going to get into all the statistics and probability, right? Suffice to say, 1 standard deviation off of VWAP is a decent move. 2 standard deviations is a really nice move, right? In theory, in statistics, right, about 80% of our price action, and this is in theory, this is definitely not in practice or reality, is going to be between the +1 and the -1 standard deviations, right? Okay. Anyway, so what does VWAP mean? Okay, so we said it's value weighted average price. Yeah, that's great, Matt. What does it really mean? And who gives a crap about it? Well, first of all, most retail traders that are not familiar with VWAP aren't going to understand it or know a whole lot about it. What it is specifically is, again, it is the average price paid for a contract within that particular session, right? The sessions, tomorrow's session will start here in about an hour or so. So at that point, VWAP will reset for the day, right? And you can see that if you go back, right? You can see the moment VWAP resets and starts. It takes some time to kind of get where it needs to get, right? But so VWAP resets every day. Yes, there's a thing called anchored VWAP that you can set to a specific day or event. There's weekly VWAP, whatever. I just focus on the daily. I know some people swear by anchored VWAP. It's just not something I've spent a lot of time on, just because the regular one works well enough for me, right? If it ain't broke. So it's just the average price that was paid for a contract at any given point. Well, why is this important, right? Well, it's important for a couple of reasons. Because anytime we're above VWAP or strongly above VWAP, that's a very bullish signal. Well, no crap, Matt, right? The price is way up there, so it's a pretty bullish signal. But it's also very important because institutions pay, and large funds, right, pay a ton of attention to VWAP. Okay, so just for example, let me give you an example of that. You and I, let's say we had our real brokerage accounts. We're not talking about evals, real brokerage accounts. We could go and go buy 10 minis in the market. It's a drop in the ocean of the volume that's coming in, right? Well, bigger institutions, sometimes they need a lot of contracts to either establish a position, long or short, or to hedge some of the things they're doing. And we're talking about some funds that trade trillions of dollars. Okay, so 10 minis is not going to hedge. We're talking 5 figures or 6-figure amounts of contracts. Okay, is even as liquid as the NQ and the ESR. You're not going to market order 100,000 contracts, right? You do that, you're going to get fired. You do that, and probably before the order is even filled, your boss is going to be in there screaming at you, right? So institutions use it as a benchmark for their traders, and yes, VWAP is definitely a thing in stocks as well. And so let's talk about that in stocks. So let's say stock ABC, okay, and you are you do orders for a major firm, okay, and they hand you a slip at the beginning of the day. Hey, we want to get long 10,000 shares of ABC, and let's say ABC trades at $250, right? So we're talking about a multi-million-dollar transaction. You're not just going to go market order at the open. Again, you're going to get fired. So what you're going to do is pay attention to VWAP, right? And you're going to buy 100 contracts here, 200 here, 500 there, etc., etc., etc. And in general, and this is just a very, obviously firms have metrics that go way beyond this, but in general, if you go back to your boss and say, hey, I got all the contract, I got 200, 10,000 shares, and I was able to get 8,000 of them below VWAP on the day. you're probably going to get a nice pat on the back, if not a little bonus, right? Because you paid less on that day to get the shares than you did than the average price that was traded that day. Now, is this an oversimplification? Yes, it is. There's a lot more things that go into that. But just in general, it's an example that I think can help you understand why VWAP is important. VWAP is also important because the HFTs, the high frequency traders, the algos, etc., are going to pay attention to those. Okay, so it is an area that both human and machine pays attention to. Now, there's some days where it's not as reliable an indicator as everything else. And if you're looking at today, be like, boy, it was a crap indicator today. I would argue differently. I would argue the one standard deviation line, and a lot of practitioners, both the people that taught me and others as well, will call this the fast lane up here. Same thing down here. So if we're above one standard deviation, prices, it tends to accelerate, and you can see that happen here. We really accelerated. We got down below here, and we accelerated again, right? Same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. Now, this is not exact, of course, right? But there are, and we don't have time to go over all of them right now, there are several trading setups that, I have one called the VWAP tap. It's very simple. Go tap the VWAP. Right now, yes, there's other internals that I'm looking at. Some I don't take every trade like that. I got to make sure certain things are going on. But then there's also trades that involve breaks and rebounds from the negative one, breaks and retracements from the positive one. Not a lot of people have specific trade setups up at 2 standard deviation or down here. I actually have a couple that I pay attention to. I talked about them in the webinar last night. If you want to go look at that video on this YouTube page. They're risky, right? If you're trying to take shorts up here at +2 standard deviation or longs down here, you got to have a tight. It's one of those trades that I like to say it has a lower probability of being successful, but a higher risk reward than your typical trade, right? So as opposed to if I want my typical trade to have, say, a 55% chance of success, and I have a 1.5 to 1 reward to risk ratio, that's acceptable to me. So down here, I may only have a 40% chance of the trade being being successful, but I could get a 3 or even 4 to 1 risk to reward. Now, I'm not going to take that all the time, but I'm going to take that often enough where the couple times it pays off are going to be pretty significant, right? And I'm just, again, we're not getting into specifically to setups here. I just want to talk a little more about what this indicator is. Okay, I do see, guys, Josh has put, if you scroll up just a little bit, a message from the Blue Sky Trading Company. Like and subscribe to this channel video first, and then sign up here, and the winner will be announced later in the stream. We'll probably do that in about 20 to 25 minutes, okay? We've got 2 giveaways. Again, for those that have come a little late, Blue Sky's been kind enough to give away a $50,000 evaluation account, a free one. Your first month is free, so that will be the first giveaway. The second one is a one-on-one with myself. Any trading, coaching related things you want, and guys, I charge $297 an hour. So you will get a lot of value out of these 2 things. So make sure you got to like this video, subscribe to the Blue Sky channel, then click on that link and fill out your information. And in about 20 or so minutes, 25 minutes, we will spin the wheel o names, as we like to do. Right? Okay. So let me show you one more thing on this indicator, guys. And this is how I set this indicator up. Okay, there is one thing down here called tolerance band width. Okay, I set this to 0.1. So what has this done here? Well, VWAP is a binary, right? You're either, other than the exact tick, you're either above VWAP or below VWAP. The one standard deviation is as well. However, scratch on my monitor? No, okay. I don't know what that was. Anyway, probably a dead bug. Flies around here have been horrible. It's just that season, right? So what I do is set just a small tolerance off here, and you can see right here, guys, how this makes these trades a little easier to see, right? So, like for example, and this was a trade I took. We have a couple of things going on here that got me pretty excited, right? Who can tell me very close, maybe not exact, but who can tell me what candle pattern this is? You don't get anything, but you get a gold star. The indicator is called the VWAP, Carl. Okay, engulfing. Yes, correct. A bullish engulfing candle. In fact, if I put my, I don't have my, I don't want to pull that up and screw everything up. Okay, so nice reversal candle, and instead of getting in right at the line, right, I get in as we break above the tolerance band, right, because that's a little further from the line. I'm perfectly okay to give up anywhere from 2 to 5 or even 7 handles in the NQ to make sure I'm right? Because I'm playing for sometimes as much as, sometimes it's just 20 handles, but sometimes it's 30, 40, 50 handles, right? This trade ended up being partial profit here, and then I got greedy and the rest ran, and I sold it for a small win. I don't remember my exact profit on this one. It was okay. It wasn't what I like to be, right? So again, nice engulfing candle off of a buying tail, right? Buying tail, selling tail, okay? And tail, wick, shadow, whatever you want to refer to it as. So for me, using candlesticks and candlestick confirmations in conjunction with VWAP is something I do on a near daily basis. The NQ, I usually have the NQ7 handles as much at all. I thought you were saying NR7, which is another indicator, which I do use actually. Okay, so I try to get these questions as I go to VWAP work well with tick charts. I cannot tell you it does or does not. I do use Renko charts, guys, for a couple of particular setups. You can see I pushed that off to the side. However, most of what I do is on the candlesticks. That's just where I'm most comfortable, where I feel best operating is with the candlesticks. And even in my Renko trades, guys, I'm looking for candlestick backup, right? How to best manage feelings of FOMO when you're waiting for confirmation? Okay. Well, that's very simple. No FOMO, and your name is appropriate, I would say. I said this last night. This is a little quick aside, guys, but I said this last night. If you're somebody who struggles with FOMO, fear of missing out, for those that are not familiar with the term, or struggles with chasing, okay? I am a recovering chaser, right? We have meetings we should probably. But it was very easy for me to find a little bit of a hack to do this. Or I shouldn't say it's very easy, but it was a realization, a light bulb moment. There's really not actually that many light bulb moments in trading. You just got to put in the work, and it starts to come slowly but surely. But this was a light bulb moment for me, probably after getting screamed at by one of my mentors way too many times. I took a Post-it note. Couple of hacks, guys, and I don't have it here because this isn't where I trade. This is my studio. I trade upstairs. You should always have a pen and a small pad of paper next to your mouse. So anything that you think about throughout the day, you can write down, oh gosh, I got to remember to check this trade later. I got out at this point. Was this the right decision or not? Or maybe you're watching a webinar like this and the presenter says something amazing, which I try to do at least a couple of times per session, right? But you can write it down at that point, right, and say, okay, let me check this later, or a term or something you hear, regardless. The other thing you should do in your desk is have Post-its. And if there's something that really jumps into your head or that you need to see, that's where you do it. So for those of you that have trouble with FOMO, I want you to get a Post-it or just a piece of paper and a piece of tape. And I want you to write on that paper, there will always be another trade. If you're a chaser, I'm going to repeat that, and I want you to say it with me. I can't hear you, but I'm going to know. There will always be another trade. Maybe 5 minutes from now, maybe an hour from now, maybe tomorrow. But no matter what your style is, your setups, if you're a day trader and you've got setups that, my setups tend to fire a few times a day. I'm typically 3 to 5 trades per day. I'm not crazy, all right? I'm not making 30, 40 trades a day. You people that do that, you're insane. I mean, if you're good at it, more power to you. I barely have the attention span to do 3 to 5, let alone 30 to 40. I'd just be guessing at that point, right? But yes, the market will always provide opportunities. As long as the sun rises and the market opens, there will be chances to make a trade. So you put that on your monitor and look at it every day. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's look at. I want to catch up here. If I miss a question, guys, please repeat it. Okay, so somebody was asking about overnight sessions. I don't trade overnights, man. I just don't. I know some people, you work during the day, so you're looking for opportunities overnight. And I know some people that successfully trade overnight. But you're right. If my indicators and my patterns are not going to play out as reliably overnight, why am I going to trade overnight? So it's, guys, if I didn't have this event at 3 o'clock, or, I'm on Central Time, 3 o'clock, I shut down my, I don't shut down my computer because I still got to journal everything. But I walk away from the computer, if not a few minutes earlier, if I'm not in a trade, right? I will usually take my dog for a walk or go sit down on the front porch, come back in, do my journaling, usually with an adult beverage, and then I just kind of relax, right? Sometimes I'm working on other stuff in the evenings. Monday, Tuesday, I try to get a lot done in the evenings, like prep for events like this, things like that. But I typically only work half-day Fridays, guys. I try to be done by noon on Fridays. I really do. That's just my, Mondays, Tuesdays, I do a lot, and I'm working on a lot of different things. I'll typically go like 7 to 7 on those couple of days, or 6 to 7, or 6 to 8, or something like that. So for me, Fridays is when and I try to do very little before Sunday night on the weekends. You got to give yourself an opportunity to relax. Trust VWAP and price action. Timing is very important. London Open and New York City Open and VWAP is killing it. Yeah, I mean, I've used VWAP was great for me to transition into futures because I used it for so long in stocks, and it just makes sense. It's an indicator that makes a lot of sense to me, and some don't. Doesn't mean they're good or bad. It just keep the questions coming, guys. This time belongs to you guys. I'll answer questions all day. Yeah, overnight is low volume. Alcohol is poison. All right, well, poison me then. I actually don't drink that much during the week. I try not to. I have other ways of getting to sleep. Yes, absolutely. There will always be another trade. Algo identification? No, I do not. I've seen a number of indicators that claim to know exactly what the algos are doing. Honestly, I haven't found much of an edge there. That doesn't mean there isn't one, and that doesn't mean there's not something coming tomorrow that'll be absolutely amazing. But guys, I want to say something really quickly here, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, right? But everyone's always looking for that magic indicator. VWAP is a great indicator. Is it a magic perfect indicator? Hell no. Nothing is. Guys, there are probably some amazing indicators and strategies out there, guess what? Nobody's selling them to us. They're selling them to the institutions and the hedge funds and the algos. If somebody really comes up with that magic trade, like that magic, combination of things, are you going to sell it to retail traders for $200 a month, or are you going to sell it to an institution for a few million? I mean, let's be serious, right? So that's why, guys, it is completely on us to do our own trading. Doesn't mean you can't learn from me. Doesn't mean you can't learn from Mike. Doesn't mean you can't learn from whoever else is out there, right? There's a lot of great information out there. But at the end of the day, I said this last night, the end of the day, and I don't mean every day, but like when you're in full command of your career, it's when you're making your own trades. Doesn't mean you can't trade very similar to what I do or Mike does or Josh does or whoever, but it has to be your own trades. That's the ultimate goal, right? Okay, guys, to sign up for the giveaway, you can click the pinned message. It says like and subscribe to this channel. So you can see that right up here. Just click right up there, guys, and that will take you to the page to register. We're going to do that in about 15 minutes, so get that done. I'm going to give you a few-minute warning here in a couple of minutes. If I trade the main U.S. session, why do you VWAP calculated on the extended hours? Well, because VWAP resets, right, guys? And after about a half hour of the New York, guys, in most situations, we've probably traded as much, if not more volume than overnight anyway. So that VWAP's just naturally going to adjust. And I just want, you can play around with this. I do encourage you to check out Anchored VWAP. I just haven't spent that much time on it because the regular one, again, candlesticks, things like internals like the ADD, and I turned it off because it's a resource hog, but things like Bookmap that show me where some of the bigger orders are hidden or situated. It's not perfect, right? But if I see, let's see, we dip down here, okay, and we get up here, and I'm trying to decide, should I go long or short here or not make a trade, period, right? And I see a gravestone doji and an engulfing candle here, and then I see some orders on Bookmap layered in down here, right? I'm going to take that 10 times out of 10. Or if I see this pattern, and I see orders layered in up here, That's a no-go trade at that point, right? My trading style, guys, is not very complicated. I have very simple setups and very simple patterns that then I use market backup for, right? So I have I'm not going to get into the strategy because it takes some time to teach, but I have a strategy called the RTT trend. Okay, it's my Renko-based strategy, and it's a trend continuation trade. Okay, but I will look at something like the ADD, the advanced decline difference in the New York Stock Exchange, and if that is strongly against me, like if it's plus 1,500, I'm not taking a short trade at that point, right? I have simple patterns and then what I call C or Cs, confirmations or cancellations. Honestly, the way I trade may not be the best for everybody, but the ultra complex patterns aren't best for everybody, right? I like to have my finger on the pulse of what's going on, not moment to moment, but hour to hour, and then just take trades with the trend, guys. That's generally what I'm doing. I do take some counter trend trades, but again, they better have a really good risk reward to them. Yeah, the bands are, well, I don't know what to tell you if your bands are outside of here. So this is VWAP. This is +1 with a tolerance band. This is +2. Actually, let me show you this, guys. Some people set their tolerance bands so they're half VWAPs, right? And you can do that by setting these at 0.5. Right? Now, this gets a little busy. I don't like more than a few lines on my charts. There's some people that trade with like 50 lines on their charts. I don't know how they do it. So here's VWAP. Here's +1 half VWAP. Here's +1. +1.5. +2. I think that gets a little busy, so I don't use that. But there are some people that have it set up like that. Again, guys, any indicator that you get, don't just, oh, I'm just going to accept this blindly. No. Check it out. Put it on your chart. See if it speaks to you. Trend continuation, so simple. Wait for trending market. Look for retracements to the 20 SMA. That's a strategy. That's a simple strategy. If it works for you, and yeah, the pullbacks to major moving averages is a very simple and it's an easy to execute strategy. You still have to have money management rules, right? What is your entry criteria? What is your exit criteria? And for me, my exit criteria has to have at least a 1.5 to 1 reward to risk ratio, preferably 2 to 1 or higher. But again, I'll show this. Let me show this slide, guys. I showed this last night. This is off one of my presentations from a while ago. Let me just put this up for just a minute. Okay. And everyone says risk reward, but when you say 2 to 1 risk reward, that doesn't make any sense to me, right? So I say reward to risk. So guys, I like to be between right in here. If you can find a strategy, guys, that risks 1.5 to 1 reward to risk, right? So let's say you're risking 20 handles in the NQ to make 30, right? That's the same thing as 1.5 to 1. You only need to be right on that trade 40% of the time to break even. So for me, I want to be anywhere from 1.5 to 2 to 1, right? But anything in here I'm good with. And I need to be winning over 50% of the time, right? So my winning percentage last year was 57%. It might have been 56.8. I'm rounding up a little bit there, right? So guys, I'd love to sit here and tell you I got a 75% winning percentage or all that garbage. I don't. But I don't accept anything less than 1.5 to 1 in terms of reward to risk. So get a 1.5 or 1.8 to 1 reward to risk strategy, or just make it a general rule. I'm never risking more than 20 handles to make 30 or 20 to 35 or whatever, and then win half the time. That's it. That's how you grow your account. That's how you pass an evaluation. So if every trade in your so if you win the 50K giveaway, maybe tell yourself, okay, I'm going to take $300 wins and I'm never going to lose more than $200 on a trade. And then just win 50% of the time, guys. You're going to slowly but surely build that account. You get it up to 55% or even 60%. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with some oil, right? Okay, how about that chimp in the 90s that beat the pros? I don't know about the chimp. I mean, guys, any day is random. On any given day, yeah. What's the old, statistically speaking, if you had, what, millions of chimps randomly pounding on a typewriter over what, thousands upon thousands of years, they could eventually crank out the complete works of Shakespeare or whatever. Any suggestion on how to avoid chop intraday? Well, first of all, one of the other indicators, guys, that I'm pretty big on is ATR, right? Let me put my regular stuff back up here just so. Okay, so ATR down here is a big one for me. I really want to see the ATR over 18 on the 5-minute on the NQ, preferably over 20. And then I can use my stop at about an ATR in some situations, depending on. So if the ATR is 20 and I set my stop at 25 on a 5-minute chart, and ATR stands for average true range. We're not going to get heavy into that, guys, right? But I know it's not chop that's going to take me out of a trade, right? If I get out of the trade, it means it moved more than one ATR against me, and it means trade didn't work. Doesn't mean it wasn't a valid trade. Doesn't mean it wasn't a good trade. Not every good trade makes you money. Not every bad trade loses you money. If you have a solid trading plan that's based on practice, statistics, etc., and having your edge, if you execute that edge and you stop out of the trade where you planned to stop out of the trade, that's a good trade. End of discussion. What is the name of my ATR indicator? ATR. That's it. It's literally just ATR in TradingView. And you can see there it's set at 14. Some people set it at 20. I like the standard version. I do not use 1-minute charts. I think if you use 1-minute charts on futures, you're insane. That's just my opinion. I don't do anything shorter than 5 minutes, and even that, guys, can get a little iffy sometimes, right? But 5 minutes usually is what I will look at the macro 1 hour, 4 hour charts. The last thing I do before I shut down for the night is look at those, and then I look at them first thing in the morning. Boy, 2 minutes. Hey, if you can do it, great. I'm not telling anybody what they do is wrong. I would never do that. But yeah, 2 minutes. Okay. How do you practice? Honestly, guys, I find, let me be perfectly blunt. I find very limited value in like replay trading, right? Like you can do this on TradingView, right? You can go here, you can set it up, you can play it, you can enter trades, exit trades. I don't find a ton of value in that. I don't. Yeah, when you're first starting off, maybe it can help, but most of the, again, you're not getting it tick by tick in that situation. What did I say at the beginning, guys? The most important thing for traders is just screen time, right? Just practicing day to day. Again, if you're first starting off, guys, spend a few weeks in the sim and then spend some time, and then you want to get an eval account when Blue Sky's got a good sale. That's great. Okay, just understand you're probably not going to pass your first time or two, and that's okay, guys. Not passing an eval 2, 3, 4, 5 times, that's normal. That's going to happen, right? Because you're learning how to trade while you're doing this, right? Now, if you fail at 20 times, 25 times, now we got an issue, okay? And without talking to you individually, I can't tell you what that issue is. But and I know there's some of you that are in here, guys. If you're somebody who's failed an eval a lot, let's just say 25 times. The one question I would ask you, the very first question I would ask you is, you just reloaded for number 26. What's different this time? What did you change? And if the answer is nothing, you are the very definition of insane. You're doing the exact same thing, expecting a different result. Okay, after a few failures, it's time to step back. Listen, you're going to get frustrated. I get it. I wish these evals existed when I first started. Instead, I went ahead and lost 40 grand of my own money. You want to talk about stressful and throwing things. You bomb out 3 evals and I'm stressed. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't doubt it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not invalidating your experience, but yeah, try to almost blow your life savings. That'll. You want to stare at the ceiling and have some tears at night? That'll do it. And I've talked to people that have lost. Guys, I've worked with people that have lost 7 figures over the years. I talked one guy specifically. He lost over $1 million in the markets, and that was his money. That was it. Right. And I switched companies shortly after I talked to him, so I couldn't stay in touch with him. So I don't know what happened. Now I've talked to people that have lost $1 million, and they got 20 million in their family's bank account. I mean, that sucks. But and then I've talked to people that have lost $500, and that's their life savings, right? I mean, guys, don't break the first rule of trading. Never put money in an account or in start an eval account if you can't afford to lose that money, right? Thinking about doing tick by tick replay for practice. Yeah, I mean This thing is on Ninja, guys. I know there's VWAP indicators on Ninja. Yeah, first eval ended with a hole in the drywall. Well, that's what they say. The first step to becoming a successful trader is find yourself a good drywall repairman. No, I'm not in a competition because I'm going to be out of town for a good chunk of it. Yeah, tuition. You're paying the. That's a good example. Oof, Steven. Oof. Ouch, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you the 5-minute warning right now. 5-minute warning to sign up for the evaluations. Again, you've got the little chat here, right? Click on this up here. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the page first. Okay. So, guys, we obviously I always try to answer questions. Nothing frustrated me more when I first learning to go to one of these events when questions weren't answered. I covered most of what I wanted to cover, although we did get a little off. But just, guys, this is VWAP. Throw it up on your charts and just, if after 2 weeks of it on your chart you just don't see any value with it, that's fine. Spent $76K on evals in the past. What? Yeah, I'm not even going to explore that one. Yeah, guys, VWAP's a great indicator. Honestly, I talked to a trader about 2 months ago. We just had one conversation. It was a gentleman that reached out to me for to do some content for him, and the content they want is just not the stuff I really like to do. But we got to talking, right? And he specifically said, he asked what indicators do you use? And I said VWAP's one of my favorites. He says, oh, I love VWAP. He says, I said, do you have any setups that you use off that? He goes, no, but I will tell you this. I take only longs above VWAP and only shorts below it. Now, that's not how I do it. I will do it other way, but that's one way he uses. Is I have 0 setups. It's a binary for me. Only long setups above VWAP, only short setups below VWAP. He says, I've been doing that for 15 years and I love it. All right, guys, 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning to sign up for everything. So while we're I'm going to take these 2 minutes, guys. I got a kind of a small announcement here that will become a big announcement next week. So we're going to do one more event next Thursday. We may do one next Tuesday too. Let me just stay tuned on this. So I came on here in February. And again, I'm not a Blue Sky employee, but I just do some work for them, do some events like this because I have a background in education, and I get along real well with the group there, especially Josh. Josh is a really great dude. You guys literally have no idea how hard that guy works to get you guys the best experience possible, right? And I appreciate that he kind of lets me do my own thing. He never puts cuffs on me as far as you got to do this, you got to say this or do this. I can, as an educator and especially as a pretty stubborn and arrogant dude, I appreciate the hell out of that. So those guys, Raj, Mike, all these guys, they work their tails off for you. And I know you guys know that, but I just think it's important for me to say it as well. The 2-minute warning is to sign up for the giveaways. Okay. But I've been trying a lot of stuff this year as far as education. Like, I've been putting together a few courses for you guys, some mentorship type stuff. I've tried a lot of different things. Some have been successful, some haven't been. Well, I've got one more thing in sort of throwing stuff against the wall, guys. So you guys are familiar with micros, right? You got mini contracts and micro contracts. Well, I've decided to put together a number of micro courses, right? So instead of you guys paying $1,000 for a 9-hour course, right, which maybe 80% of the content you'll never use again. I'm in the process, and they will be ready next week, and I will start to release them one at a time, of putting together a micro course on various things. One will probably be on VWAP, some of my setups for VWAP. The very first one is going to be the 25 rules of day trading. Okay, and this is probably the most important piece of education I've ever put together. That's how strongly I feel about it. My various setups that I trade are going to be those. Probably some trading as a business stuff. They're going to be short courses, probably about 90 minutes long a piece, and I'm going to sell them for about $39 a pop. Okay, so short courses, smaller, barrier to entry, right? Not charging, $1,000 for 10 hours of stuff, and I'm going to try it. And if you guys are interested in it, you like them, you grab a couple of them, you say, hey, this is good, I like this one, that's really going to help me, because I think that's what I've learned about you guys, and I mean you guys as in people who come into trading through these prop firms, right, or in the prop firms. You guys are coming from so many different backgrounds, right? It used to be traders came from very similar backgrounds, so they all had to learn the same things. Some of you guys have already learned a certain amount of things, but you need setups, or maybe you got some setups but you need trade management rules. So putting these together, and you guys can just buffet style, you go up to the buffet, oh, I like this, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to grab this, you know what, I don't really need that, I'm good, right? So I'm going to put about 5 of these together, I'm going to put them out one at a time, and I'm going to see what you guys like, and any feedback you have on them. And if again, it's one of those things that if for some reason it doesn't quite speak to you, well, you're not out $1,000 on it, right? So do I execute my trades on TradingView? Some of them. Some on there, some on... Most of my personal executions are on Edge Pro X. Okay? So, guys, stay tuned on that. I will... Next week, probably Monday, I will release the course names and the dates they will be available. I've got them staggered while I'm on vacation. And there will be, some small giveaways and stuff attached to those. So, micro courses. I think it's going to be a thing. I hope it is. So, we'll see. I will be in touch in the Discord channel. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via direct message. Okay, guys, the signups are officially closed. So as soon as Josh direct messages me the names, we will spin the wheel o' names. 2 giveaways. The first one is a $50,000 evaluation accounts, thanks to our good friends at Blue Sky. And the second is a one-on-one coaching session with myself. Okay. Oh, wow. Great attendance. All right. So here's the first giveaway, guys. The $50,000 account goes to... I can't even read these. We got to wait until it goes up there. Ron, 95. Oh, you have duplicates. Well, I already spun it, so we're good. Ron, 9536. Congratulations, you have won the $50,000. No, the courses, John, will be on my website. I'll provide more information on that next week. I just wanted to tease it. All right, so let us spin the wheel. This is for the one-on-one giveaway. Moosin 85. Okay, so Josh or I will be reaching out to you via email to redeem these particular giveaways. All right. Okay, so to close out today, I've just got to give you a little bit of a pep talk, right? So my background, for those of you who don't know, in college, I was a sports management major. And actually, I had to have a business minor for that, so I learned a lot of valuable lessons. Here, I'm going to pull myself up here. I'm going to put my ugly mug a little more on the screen here, okay? And I wanted to coach basketball, and that's what I started doing. I was working, coaching, doing some teaching, that kind of stuff when I first got out of college. I quickly realized 2 things. I like nice things and having money, and what I was doing did not have those or provide that, right? I eventually wanted to coach college basketball, which most of you know is a very lucrative field after you've been in it for about 20 years, right? And I grew up around it, athletics. My dad was a college athletic director. So it's in my blood in coaching, right? And I was the rah-rah guy when I first started, right? My job is to get these guys banging the walls down as they're taking the field or the court at the end. So let me just talk to you in that manner for a second. I've been having a lot of direct messages with some of you guys, or we've been talking at these events, and I know a lot of you are struggling. That's part of the game, okay? I can count on one hand the number of people I've met over the years that picked up trading and got pretty good at it right away, and I've met tens of thousands of traders. I've spoken at events in front of thousands of people. I've done events like this in front of a couple hundred. I've spoke to 5 people, in a webinar at 10 o'clock at night, right? This takes time to get good at, Okay. Yes, I understand we all want to get eval'd. We want to get, pass our eval, pass our funded, whatever. And some people can luckily pass an eval and then they bomb out their funded. Okay. You're going to hear the numbers of how many people fail in this game. And it's high. Okay. I don't know if it's really 95% or whatever people say. I don't have those numbers in front of me. But I will tell you this. The majority of those people that are not successful because they quit, because they give up. Okay. If you've bombed out 20 evals, you need to go back to the drawing board, okay? You need to go back and get on the simulator. Well, the simulator's not I don't give a crap. You can't do it for real. You need to get in the simulator, okay? What's the very first thing a baseball player does when they report to spring training? I don't care if they're high school or professional. They're hitting off a tee. Then they're taking soft toss. Then they're hitting off the machine. Then they go take live BP. Then they go to a game. That's about 6 steps from when you report to when you're seeing actual results, right? Okay, so guys, I want to tell you this. Stick with this. The rewards are so worth it. And it's not just money, guys. It's the flexibility. Okay, the flexibility. You know what? If I decided I didn't want to work tomorrow, I don't have to. And you know who I have to call? Do I have to put in PTO? Or no, I don't. Everyone focuses on the money when they first get in this game. And don't get me wrong, that's why we're here. If you're not here to make money, get out of it. Right? But the flexibility to do what you want to do it on the time frame you want to do, but you still have to put in the work. There are traders, you'll see the advertisement, trade 1 hour a day and make $1,000 or whatever. That is actually possible, guys. But you need to put in the work to get to that point. Okay? And that's going to take you some time. It's going to take a lot of hours, a lot of sleepless nights, and a lot of time. Maybe it takes some of you 6 months. Maybe it takes some of you 6 years. But if you stick with it, you don't give up, and you just keep working, I believe you can get there. There's 2 steps to becoming a very profitable trader. Number 1, don't blow up your account or your eval or whatever. Number 2, keep learning. And that's it. That's the name of this game, guys. Okay? So, thank you again to the Blue Sky guys for inviting me to do these events. We'll have 1, maybe 2 events next week. I'll get with Josh. We'll figure that out. I've got those micro courses coming out next week. I'm very excited about. There will be a ton of information. Most of you here are part of the Discord. If you're not, join the Discord, and you will stay up to date on everything we've got going on. So thank you guys very much for another day, another session, and I will catch up with you guys next week. Be well.